Hello everybody, my name is Sampo and we are here for My Hero Ultrarumble, well, another topic, so to speak. Now, currently we have the new character Shinso and of course the Assault Ochaco, and oh boy, yeah, those two characters are very interesting. But yeah, we're just here, and again, this tier list is also including the cross-play stuff, so I am also fighting against PC players, but I am on console, so it might be a bit different. But since with crossplay, I can now see like more and play against people on PC, and I can actually definitely tell the difference between both. And there is a major difference between some of these characters, so I'm technically gonna do a slight average. In this tier list, I am not going to be counting tuning skills, so if you want to see a tier list with tuning skills, I mean, just leave a comment down below. I'll share my opinions on that. But characters with tuning skills with specific combinations, they do rank differently, and of course that tier list would be much more different than this one. But there are some characters that didn't really get nerfed, and some characters that kind of got buffed, which do not need it, and some of them got shadow buff, which none of you guys actually do know. And without further ado, this intro is a little long. Let's begin. It looks like up first is Azawa. Azawa has a buff, one buff, that's about it, but that buff was just enough to bring him up to A. And in a Pacific team comp, he would be S tier, and that's with Shinso, but he's basically an A because he's still technically manageable. But unfortunately, if you really want to handle him, you would still need to be in a team because, well, he cannot really 1-3-3 that well. But if an Azawa player is smart enough, they can still do that, and it's still pretty annoying. Next up is Off One. Last time I would say he was BD, but actually, to be honest, he didn't really get any major buffs or nerfs, but he did get a bug fix, or technically a buff, which he can pierce through shields now, which is actually kind of good, at least to what I remember. At least when I play him, he can pierce through shields, which is really good going up against like Red Kiri or Kendo. But yeah, D, I think maybe high C, because he can still put out a lot of damage. And finally, I actually did remap a button on my controller, so I don't need to press the L stick. I use the aim trigger because, to be honest, the aim trigger is the most useless button for like 50% of the cast. It's pretty useless, so replacing that with the run button is actually pretty good. And him, for me, finally being able to actually sprint with Off One is actually pretty good, and with his silence when he's dashing, because he's just floating in the air when dashing, is actually pretty good, and that kind of goes for stealth thing. So yeah, I think C is pretty good. Of course, in a team he can be really terrifying, but overall I think he's still in a good place, pretty average. All Might. All Might is like my #1 main, and there will be times where I put him in A tier at the very least. To be honest, yeah, he's still A tier. He's still pretty good, but he has slightly fallen off due to other characters doing to other characters, team comps, and all the other stuff. Because he can still pretty much fight. He still has his AoE on level 4. His beta still does pretty high damage. His tornado is a good defensive option to run away or protect others. And then his special action is actually pretty good. For me personally, I use a faster recharge on his special action, so I can actually travel and protect others faster. Of course, that comes in a cost that I cannot actually pick them up and carry them to safety if they're down, but that's just me. But my build would technically make him B, but I think how most people will play him is still A. He's still pretty annoying to go up against, so don't exactly blame other people if they put him up here in S, but considering with other characters, I would actually not be opposed to putting him in high B instead, because he is at this point surprisingly average, because he doesn't have anything to exactly help him. I do think if we can just bring his HP up to 350 again, he'll be in solid A, because there's a lot of things that people can do that can just kind of two-shot him, and that's with the newer characters or with other combos that are out there. Well, enough of that for All Might. Next is Yellow Deku. Last time I would have put him in C. He's basically low A. He's just below All Might because he's a starter character and he's still pretty good. He hits so super hard, but I like to think that he is basically the beginner character for everybody, and All Might's like the actual like evolved version. And I think this is still fair because All Might has better movement and better power moves to disrupt, while Deku feels just an all balanced character. So I guess him being a tank does not exactly make sense, but he does hit hard for a tank and he does do good knockback. And I think still maybe his Gamma still has that glitch where it can do damage, which is just a little frustrating. But that's just me. Yellow Shiggy. I'll put him in B. He has fallen, I'll say that much, but he is still pretty formidable because his beta can still catch people off guard. His beta is a good way to set a trap for down people, and his alpha is super annoying because it's a spread shot. But it's kind of useless if you hit somebody in the air. Still does a good amount of damage, but it's kind of useless. It's better if you just hit this on the ground. But considering with Red Shiggy, yeah, I don't think he's really up there anymore. I could be wrong though, but that's just how I feel. There will be a time I will put him in C and he'll be a sleeper character, but at this point I think he's like up there. He's just below Aizawa. The reason why is, well, he is slightly tanky. He doesn't have much movement, but he can build walls. And his projectiles that just grow a platform or a wall is super annoying because it knocks you back quite a bit. Kind of shrinks the space. And it kind of tries to catch you off guard by doing some ricochet type stuff. So yeah, that's how I feel. He does still do a massive amount of damage. I think the only problem is his movement, but also the only reason I would say this is because I also play in Cementos just a tiny bit. My friend also plays. We kind of play the same way. It's like how we play in Fortnite when we have fun, at least. And when last time we did builds. So kind of play like that, you'll have an A tier. There's not a lot of Cementos, but every Cementos I've seen are very smart in where they're placing their blocks. So it could be a thing. You could argue for a mid B, but I think somewhere below here, mid A is fine enough. Also, he has a revival skill, which is good. The only detriment that would be argued for B is that even in a team, if you're not coordinated, he could actually screw over his own teammates if you're not careful. So there's that. Okay, Purple Dobby. Yeah, I would say that Purple Dobby beforehand, I would have put him in like B because how I see people play him, and he's still pretty much counterable. But A or S can still be argued because certain builds and all that stuff. I just think that the only reason why people have a hard time is because they just run into his traps. Nobody takes the time to walk, which is something that most Switch players have an advantage because we don't want to have stick drift, right? So we just usually walk or just dodge roll, and we'll just take some of the hits from beta, and that's about it. The walking meta, believe me, only PC players are too scared to do that. But either way, you can argue S I would technically say S because his Gamma is still good, his Beta is destructive, his Alpha just kind of tries to disrupt other people and has good homing. It's not too fast, which is good. If I'm going to be honest, maybe I'll put a compromise. I think maybe not that. Yeah, I think a somewhat mid to high A would be actually pretty good for purple. Yeah. Okay, we all know the story. Yeah, the S tier it's too fast to get a stun off of people. His alphas are too strong. His beta is good, but it's technically whatever to some people. And then his gamma is too strong, and it's an instant stun. And it's just compared to purple, Denki, it's like night and day. It's like stun for purple is like a little less, and then this is just, yeah, he's just annoying. He's just annoying to deal with. He's kind of easy to deal with, but his special action makes it much harder for him to kill. You would technically still need a team of 2 to take him down, like efficiently, but you can still solo him. I would technically say that if there's more S tier characters, and there will be, he will be in low S, but you can argue from a high A because even so, his movement is not as good as his purple variant. But he has a lot of area control for a DPS, so that makes him feel scary. Endeavor is still pretty good, and I have half a mind to put him in A, but I think somewhere in B, just above, is good. Because for one thing, Alpha is still pretty good. It's doesn't last too long, but it's manageable. Since he has one more beta, he can just chuck spears, and those spears are like the death of almost everybody. His Gamma, I mean, it's still good. Personally, I kind of wish it was like lower accurate still, but that's just me. But I know a lot of people don't like it, and to be honest, I got the blunt force of that like 5 times separately, so like, it's a good thing it's not, but maybe if his Gamma, if it was a little stronger, maybe it would be good, because since how slow it kind of is by turning, I don't know. But yeah, I think B is fine. Also, special action, I think it got buffed, but at the same time, it's still pretty short. So him actually doing a burst dash using a special action is not exactly the best. You basically need to do the Sonic 06 technique with him and Nejire just to stay in the air just long enough, and Nejire is basically the better Endeavor in terms of staying in the air and mobility. But if you really want the power in your team, I think Endeavor's still good, especially if you have the whole Todoroki team. To be honest, if Endeavor has a skill set and it's purple, then just imagine the reload speed on the purples. I mean, I don't want to think about that actually. Maybe it's best not to. Okay, Ida. Personally, I would put him S because he's still pretty annoying, but there is ways to counter him, especially with some of the certain characters right now, so that's about it. But he is super annoying, and I still think his super armor for his beta is still ridiculous on how strong it is. It doesn't really stop it cannot really be stopped, which is just weird, but I mean, for him to be a hit and run character is fine, but they don't make him like that. He's supposed to be, but he can still combo your butt, really. It's just annoying. Okay, so I would put S, and I always put Kendo in S personally for me, but even with, then of course with the tuning skill for her specifically, which we found, and the reason why she's been one-shotting, two-shotting almost the whole roster in this game. Just maybe the very top of A. I could argue low S, but maybe for some people you might argue for at least B or something. But for Kendo, she has unnecessary power boosts that were given to her, like attack buff for her Gamma, I think, her Alpha, I think as well. And yeah, don't really need the power. She still has very good movement as she has the fastest walking/running speed besides most rapid characters. but her one combo is super annoying, and she just does heavy amounts of damage. If they ever fix her gamma where it actually registers the hit where it's supposed to, then we need to nerf the gamma, because this high power is the only reason why she is technically still up here. Even if they ever fixed it and they nerfed gamma, I think it'll still be A, because she's still annoying because of her shield and shield properties, and that's about it. She's just very oppressive, which is strange for a tank, which is supposed to shield people, but I don't know. I mean, I have also played Kendo a bit too, and I did the same combos. It's just stupid on how easy it is to actually get people, honestly. Jeez. Okay, so Hiroshima, he has fallen off. A lot of people would put him in S beforehand, and I think maybe he's like A for me, but to be fair, considering the rest of the character roster, he is like pretty down here. I would technically, personally for me, for compromise, I would put him in like, can I move Endeavor please? Jesus, okay. And I think it's just lagging right now. So many ads. I'm not showing you the ads because monetize, I guess, but yeah. He does big damage. It's just unfortunately, and this is the only exception, with the T.U.N.I.N.G skills that everybody else has, he does not do enough power anymore. It's reasonable damage now, but considering that other people has defense up, sisterly, and other stuff, his melee prowess compared to like, say, like All Might or Deku's, it's just not there anymore. He's a bit too slow, and while his AoE on his gamma is pretty good, his alpha, they nerfed it, which makes him more manageable for some characters, but that just means that a lot of people can just hunt him down, which is like, you would need to switch off to Red Kiri. But as I'll say later, Red Kiri has also fallen. He's still good. He just has fallen from grace, which is unfortunate. I would employ everybody not to sleep on myhero. A lot of people, myself included, had found multiple new combos for him, and he's still pretty oppressive. Actually, he should be a bit more above. He is still very easy to kill, which is good. He's just super annoying, and technically people are playing him like it was like his season release, which is like a little funny. But I still think he's still maybe one of the best rapids out there. Maybe not the best, as we'll see later, but I think he is. You can also argue for him to be in high A, technically speaking, but if we were in high A, I think it will be lower than Kendo. But because of the combos that he does have, I'm not saying them, but the combos that he does have in his disposal now and how people can actually build him. And of course, I'm not actually talking about tuning builds right now, but his base kit right now, if you play him right, he's actually pretty good. Also, he can just zip through and teleport to somebody from his team. I don't know how people do that. I'm trying myself. I don't know how people actually do that, but with the run button, it makes it much more faster now. So like, yeah, I can see him here, but that's just my opinion. If you feel like he's below, that's good. The only other character that's a bit more oppressive, she's still pretty easy to kill, but she technically has more health. I think she has more health. Then no, she has less health. I would assume so. I don't remember her health pool. But the only two things that I really hate about her is literally her alpha and gamma. They're the only two that are basically oppressive enough that keeps people away from her, that you actually need somebody to blitz, like hit and run, in order to actually like down her, or just somebody to tank, because any other DPS or support character that comes near her would just get washed. Well, maybe not support. I think most tech and rapids get trapped by her a lot, and her cannons do too much damage, but it's technically the only high damage option she has, which is good. But then her alpha is just, she's just A. I don't want to rant too much about her. Personally, for me, just A. Compress. He's good. Oh my god. Low, no. A bit higher than Shiggy. He's like mid B for me. Like any good compress can tell you that he is pretty good to play as. I used to be good in compress, but I'm just now washed with him. Personally, for me, I feel like he's B. And seeing other compresses, the only hard-hitting move is really his alpha. His gammas are good to run away from, but that's kind of about it. And I don't see people running away with that anymore. And the shield has some usage, just not by much, especially with some of the new characters, except for the new Oraka, which we'll talk about later, I guess. But yeah, for me personally, I think him is like average, but a good compress can make him like S tier. I would not argue. Yeah, if you want to argue for A and S, I would believe you because he is just also that good. But I think it's fair for him to be B, considering how everybody else's kit is going through right now. Mount Lady is like a special case. I like her, and I actually gone back to her, and she is better than I thought she is, but she's also kind of worse than I thought she is. What's strange is that with the Pacific tuning skill, that she can be good, but basic, even her giant form is more of a detriment and is only good for a short burst. It is good that they actually fixed the giant form so that she can still have the reduction until she actually shrinks back down. But you're just a bigger target, and considering in higher ranks, most people would just target her just because she would be the bigger threat, and getting her out of the way would make the match more easier. Which, by that logic, she has options to run, and she has options to be oppressive. Technically speaking, like, she's in the middle, honestly. I feel like she's like the middle child of like these three. Like, you have the beginner, intermediate, and advanced, I feel like. But if you really want to argue for her, the highest I can think is low A. But for me personally, I think she's like top B, because she's like top B at the very least, because of her giantification and her reduction from it, and her other moves are actually pretty balanced. The only problem is I kind of wish her beta was just like it was in season 1. No, not her. Was it her beta? Her beta should be the stomping move, I think. Her stomp move should be back to where it was, because there's a lot of characters that kind of just blitz her and don't really touch the ground. I feel like with Shinso and Oraka, I feel like that's kind of necessary right now, but that's just me personally. Otherwise, there's a lot of good Mount Lady players, so I think B is good, but argument for anything higher would be low A. Rapid Bakugo used to be my favorite character, honestly, and yeah, I think that's not as good as Mirio, but if you are good with him, you are good with him. Now there was one match like yesterday, and I do not know if that guy had like auto aim mod on or something. I don't know if that was PC player or not, but either way, he just has all his alphas hit me guaranteed like 90% of the bullets, which is just like surprising. I don't think any Bakugo would actually try that, honestly. But he is technically easy to catch in the air, but if you are grounded and he's doing his beta gamma stuff like leapfrogging, it's still pretty annoying. And once they can master the alpha aiming, it's kind of over, honestly. He has the most mobility, and he is tankier than Mirio. Yeah, he is tankier than Mirio. Maybe okay, to be honest, it's kind of in between maybe one of these two, but I do think Mirio, with his more variety of combos, is a bit more better than Bakugo, as he only has a little bit, but he has like a very high ceiling to be good. So I think him and being here is actually still pretty good. Ibarra, there is a lot of times that she would be S tier, like no definitively the S tier character. But surprisingly enough, she has fallen dramatically in my opinion. She's not C. Definitely not. She's like and it just maybe higher than compressed. She still has the 2 revives, which are fine, and all her moves, every single one of her moves just does too much damage, which I do not like. All of them, especially the freaking Gamma, is just shaky but stronger for some freaking reason. But the only reason why she's down here is that everyone here, most characters up here anyway, and of course some characters that are down here, has ways to counter her. The only reason why she's at mid B at this point is because she still has her own stuff that she can use and her high damage, and of course her 2 revives to help her team. It's still dangerous to actually fight her alone, especially since she has the range and her alpha speed is a bit ridiculous. But if anything, a lot of characters still could outperform her, and a lot of people found new movement or just new strategies to counter her, so not a very viable pick at this point. I have never actually picked up Ibarra for like a long while. Only played her like 3 times last 2 seasons, and I never picked her up again because she was not really my character. Might try her soon, and maybe the next season tier list might be a little different, but just me, I guess. It's just my opinion. But I feel like a lot of people would still argue her to be either higher or lower, which is fine by you. She's like an enigma. For me personally, she used to be like the top S tier, but not anymore. Red Bakugo, the new sleeper pick. Honestly, yeah. His beta is good, his gamma is good, and his alpha is good. A lot of people play him pretty well now, and even with his nerfs, a lot of people are playing more aggressive with him comparing to Bakugo, which actually makes him much more higher. And yeah, I tried Red Bakugo a few times. He is really good, and especially since he has piercing shots. I think mid A is actually pretty good for him. Actually, no. Maybe he's not that good. I think he's better than Deku. Even with the recent nerfs, Red Deku is still it's the bane of existence in this game. Personally, if you main Red Deku, as long as you were a red main deck, as long as you were a red Deku main, day 1, respect, because he was very bad at that time. But now, even with the current nerf he has, because they buffed his alpha last time, and it's I think beta 2, I guess. I have not followed a lot of Red Deku, and I kind of almost refuse to do it. But he's still pretty bad to go up against. He's not a bad character, he's just a bad character to go up against, and I really hate it. There's a glitch on his gamma which never been fixed, there's a glitch on his beta which never got fixed. His alpha got, surprisingly, nobody noticed this, but I do think, and I don't know if I don't know if like the 10 Red Dekus I have met online were cheating in some sort of way, but his alpha was kind of just back to his like pre-nerf. Yeah, it was back to his pre-nerf self, which now makes tunneling a viable option for him again. And it's just so annoying. I don't like his alpha. I really hate it. It's maybe the only reason why you would still need an aim button, because how else you're gonna do the high damage? It's not like you're gonna, well, besides beta, there's nothing else you could actually do to tunnel, right? Still ridiculous. I don't know. They should. The one thing I wish they did was nerf his beta and give it a set threshold, because there technically is, but it's a bit too high for my opinion. I mean, like for Kiri, it's like that was a little too high compared to Kiri. Red Shiggy. The funny thing is, he's also an enigma. Just a pair. It's like a strange paradox. It's like he's very good against low characters, but we have characters who can fly, stay in the air. Compared to him, he's useless. Even if they change his special action to have 2 and has super weird properties, and he has more health, which makes him almost a little bit more unkillable. Yeah, but here's the thing. Even with those buffs, he would still be B tier. There's just one thing that I've seen every single Red Shiggy has. I don't know why, it could be a bug, but did you know that his gammas can actually grab command, like his gammas command grab? Did you know that it can actually command grab people that are just right above you, like not like close enough that it seems like their feet are touching your head? No, like a visible a visible extra 2 feet above your head. Sometimes even a like a normal building size gap, and he can still grab you. I don't know if it's a frame difference or a lag thing, or maybe that's just how he is now, like a shadow buff or something. But with that little BS bug in mind, I do think that he is basically just slightly a bit better than, you know, the only reason why. I mean, well, what you can guess. Besides his super armor, a lot of people can just get in the air and it's still his bane of existence. The only reason why he's better than All For One is because he's much more faster. He's a natural like DPS who can actually do fast damage, so, and command grab. I don't know what else you want from me. Red Shoto is actually pretty good. I would say better than Bakugo. You can argue him to be much more higher, but I don't think he is S. He's more somewhere around the A range. You can argue for high A or mid A, but for me personally, low A, just because for me personally, I cannot take his snipe shots. His snipe shots are the alphas, and I can't really do that well. I am a little washed with him. Maybe I'll play a game with him soon, just to test it out. But I would prefer purple, but I think most people will prefer purple. But a lot of red people are playing, so like, if you are playing like red Todoroki, more power to you. I would like to see more of that. Maybe just being a little less annoying with the alphas, please. But then again, I mean, they gave you an extra one, so like, do what you will. Toga, she is still annoying, but she has definitely fallen from grace. The only saving grace is her special action, her Gamma, because her Gamma has very good tracking still, and very good tracking asterisk, because sometimes it would hit, but sometimes it would just not register as a hit for some reason. That's what I found. Her Alpha is not as viable. Her movement option has been outclassed, and almost everybody else could actually catch up to her. With a certain tuning set, she can actually be pretty good and she'd be higher. But her viability being almost diminished, and since because there's another Toga that's actually better, yeah, let's just keep it that way. I think personally for me, she's not a viable option anymore, which is surprising since All For One used to be very bad, but now he's a bit better. I think the only difference really is that you can use character special action while All For One can't, but that's like the only thing. She does not do enough high damage unless if you're spamming beta. That's kind of the only way that you can actually win, is by spamming beta as much as you can, which I don't really like to do, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I've been playing Toga for a few games, and I mean, I'm not that bad, but I don't know if it was just because I'm always getting targeted, or she's just fallen. I don't know. Froppy. you'll be surprised. Froppy is not actually that. Okay, Froppy's not that bad. She is technically easy to manage, but once if she has the air advantage from you and she gets one hit on you first, you basically need to try to run away, or you can try to fight back if depending on your character. She can revive people from far distances, not too far, but pretty far. I guess technically, yeah. I think no, Ida's still better because he is a bit more annoying because of speed. Froppy has range. I think that's the only reason why. She also has she has very good mobility and she can stay in the air very long. I think the only reason why I put her lower than Ida is because just Ida has auto run, better speed. Yeah. I think you all know. Yeah, you all know, right? Yeah, you all know. You all know. This guy right here. Yeah. Okay, so I have a confession to make. Twice is my 4th main in the game, and currently my only rapid main. Now I don't do the bullshit of those Twice combos, except for, you know, gamma melee. That's the only one I do. I never do the one that follow up with the alpha. I sometimes do with the beta, but just because there are some characters that I hate to go up against as Twice, so I use beta to do more damage. But seeing how all the other Twice players are playing, and since I'm on Switch, I have the frame advantage. Playing at a lower frame rate is actually better in this game for whatever reason, and Twice specifically, that proves it. I don't know why. The reason why he's lower than Red Deku is that Red Deku can still tunnel and basically just obliterate almost everybody. I mean, Twice can do that too, but I mean, like, for Deku, you can do the killing in half the time as Twice, half the ammo, I should say, than Twice, I guess. Depending on how your opinion on ammo is on Twice, I guess. But like, anyway, he's still S tier. If you really want to argue him lower as a Twice main, I don't think he is any lower. I think he's S tier. But if you want lower, low S tier or high A, that's all I could say. But I will say this. There is an argument for him to be at least lower, and the only argument is Momo and Kendo. Those are the only two that can actually outright counter him, as far as I can see. There's a lot of other characters, but those other characters only because he has low health because of a rapid. That's about it. In terms of an actual combat, I do think that characters like Momo and Kendo outright counter him. Kinda sad, but it is what it is. But like, considering how too good he is, I think it's kind of justified that he is S tier. They really need to fix this gamma just to make it more balanced. That's all I'm saying. Rapid Ochaco. I really don't know. Like, kinda, but she's actually hard to place because she's still pretty good. Technically for me, like, I used to be good, but okay, listen, here's the thing. For the past few days, everybody's targeting any type of Ochaco, blue or yellow. If you're an Ochaco, you're basically dead on sight for some reason, which makes it hard to rank any of these two. But I do think that Ochaco is at this point mid B. I think they buffed her just slightly, but she can stay in the air for long. She has a car, and her gamma is still good. What's really missing is technically her survivability, but she can still be very pesky. I would technically put her a bit more higher, but in my opinion, I don't think she is that good not anymore, considering there's other characters that can technically do the same thing as her but better. And there's two. One of them's already up here. I'll let you decide which one it is. Red Dobby used to be the bane of existence to every player. Still technically is for some degree. He's low A. Reason why: his beta is very inconsistent now for some reason. His beta has very good tracking. The tracking is like better than Twice and not as buggy. The command grab part of it is now bugged. Unless there's like a threshold that is reached which he cannot command grab, which is weird. But considering how other people are, and I think maybe his Gamma got shadow nerfed. I don't know. I feel like I am 100% wrong on that, but he is not as good as he was before. That's all I'm gonna say. Is he still a menace? Yes. But is he as menace as before? No. He's not S tier. But if you really want to argue, I will argue low S tier because he's technically the same, but he's more manageable, and purple is still better. Definitely. For overhaul, low S. So here's the thing. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on overhaul. Yes, he doesn't have enough movement, but he has the range of everything. He's super annoying, and his storm gameplay, him camping in storm, is a death sentence for you who are inside, because the thing is, if he has a lot of green health and he has some speed up towards his special action, he can just heal himself over and over again. Now, technically speaking, this is now almost impossible. It was doable before his special action nerf, but now it's kind of bad. Like, it's kind of bad, but it's still, you can still technically do it, but you can only do it once if you want to camp in storm just a tiny bit and catch people off guard. And that's like the only way that you can actually do stuff. But he has super high damage. His alpha, I think, is slept on, honestly. His beta is also slept on as well, but a lot of people who play overhaul know what they're doing, so yeah. His gamma is still pretty annoying, and that's about it. You can argue like A, but the only reason, or if you want to argue for higher S, I guess, or maybe high A, because for me personally, I still think low S is good for him, but like mid S to high A, it would depend on the team comp. And it's always been on the team comp for him because he has no mobility. Now if you pair him with Hawks, however, he's a menace. Trust me, I did that once. It was not good for any team. Okay, watch out. The number 3 S tier is here, and it's just purple Todoroki. Need I say more? He is the most perfect balanced character in the entire game, and some might say he's overtuned. And yes, he is overtuned, because who wants him to have another beta? Who asks for it? Like, who? The only buff I want is his gamma. I like the fire tornadoes, okay? I just want a buff on that, that's about it. But everything else, he is very oppressive. He can just capture people off guard because of the beta's secondary property. That's about it. And that's about it. I mean, he can definitely counter Twice, like he can definitely counter Twice. I just noticed that. Yeah, I think he is better than Twice. Like, Twice is super annoying, and he has all the combos are just based off of gamma. All his combos are based off of gamma. For Todoroki, it's just beta, alpha, and that's about it. I mean, you can also use alpha, and then there's like gamma if you want to, you know, disrupt projectiles. But like, those are like things on his kit that are supposed to be doing. Not what jumbo mess that Twice is, or like the super hyper focused tunneling that he can, like Red Deck can do. Purple Todoroki is like the most balanced character. He deserves S tier. I do think that we need to take away his beta. And if I'm going to be really honest, I like purple, But his alpha does a lot of damage still. Maybe just get a few points off and maybe have the explosion not do so much damage and maybe buff the gamma. I just like to see the tornadoes do more. That's about it. Now here's the thing. There's some in the grapevine that Hawks is still S tier, specifically in the JP side things. Here's the harsh reality, people. He might be still annoying, but he has truly have fallen with grace. He has fallen with no grace. Listen, he is not that good anymore. He cannot stay in the air as much as he can anymore with special action. His alpha technically doesn't do enough damage. His beta doesn't do the same damage, which is good. His beta damage is good. His gamma could be done better, I would say. His alpha has homing, but it doesn't do enough damage as it does before. It might be a shadow nerf or maybe just some other tuning skill. But the thing is that, excuse me, his only main keep stay in the air move is literally his beta, and his beta is really just inconsistent. The power nerf I get, the knockback I get, but do you really need to increase the cost of using a beta? Because of that, he cannot really protect his team anymore. He's really just a true hit and run character, which is good, but considering that he has projectiles, he's not a melee character. Like, he's definitely not a melee character. And with the right tuning skill, he is definitely more up here, but he is like down here. Okay, maybe not all the way down. Yeah. He's only high C. His alpha doesn't do enough damage anymore. Per shot, it doesn't do enough damage. The maximum I can always get is 10 out of his feathers, and that's about it. His beta is inconsistent. Some people can do snapshot, like snap betas, which is just once you turn the camera, snap the camera right behind him and do the beta again so he can snap in that direction. It's like very hard for console players at the very least. So it's not very viable for me. And if I ever test that out, I think he will be a rank higher. But his gamma is really useless. And the only way that can stay high in the air for a longer time is carrying a teammate. And here's the thing, we all know that in teams, nobody wants to be carried by Hawks anymore. Unless they're very bold and they're actually very, very good at adapting, maybe. But yeah, high C. He has fallen from S to C. And for some people who are still putting him in S tier, I mean, like, maybe you are just built different. But in terms of overall nerfs he got and performance currently right now, every Hawks I saw, every Hawks I faced, they all need Sisterly, and they still get beaten with an inch of their life from one team. And that's with a teammate. So I don't see his survivability is really not there. It's more of the aggressive Hawks, but I don't see survivability anymore. Unless you are built different. I feel like maybe Stray can actually do something about it. I don't know. Do I need to say more about this character, honestly? Okay, really? Do I really need to say more? It's like, yeah. I think Rapid-Toga is better than Twice. But the thing is, compared to Twice, who has all things Gamma, she is all things stun. She can micro stun with Alpha, she can stun with Beta, she can stun and knock back with. You see what I mean? She does a lot of damage for a Rapid. It's just because she's a Rapid because she has good movement and she can dish out her attacks super fast. Unfortunately, all her attacks have some sort of stun ability. Not electric stun like, you know, Kaminari. Like hit stun. And once she hits you, it's all over. Unless, of course, you're kind of fast or tanky. Or you can just surprise her with a shot, or you're just Todoroki. Like, yeah, she's kind of dead. But once she like gammas you, it's kind of almost over because after that she can do stuff depending on what blood she has. Also, that I also mentioned, Like, they also buffed her special action as well for both Togas. That makes her better, and she can play any of these characters. And her kits is viable. That's the difference between blue and purple. Purple's kit is like very much more situational now, and it's just fallen. And while this one is still reign supreme for stupid reasons, which I hate, needs a nerf quick. I don't know, but yeah, that's the S tier. Yeah, I think these are the top 3 S tiers. It's gonna stay like that for just a few more minutes, honestly. How much time we have? Oh shit! Well, it's almost an hour. I guess these things are just here. I really want to explain myself. That's kind of why. So thank you for watching this far. President Mike is a sleeper pick. Not much to say. I think he's like a very good balanced character. The unfortunate side is that he does stay still in the air or stay still in multiple places, but he has a boombox which kind of catch people off guard if you place it secretly or use it as a distraction. I don't know, you play Mike. But I played Mike before. He's not exactly that good, but he has good potential, and a lot of people are upgrading his Gamma more and using the Burst beta, which is super annoying. And then Alpha afterwards, because nobody can hear the Alphas. You can see them, but for the most part, yeah, you do need you need the boombox to make him better. So he's like low A. If you want to argue for his placement, like I would argue high A, mid A, or high B. He's like kind of all over the place. It also depends on team comp. With the right team, he can be high A, but average, he's like low A. And based on his kit, he does have movement, but the thing is that you have to rely on your teammates being dead, reviving them, because if you revive them when they were downed, like using a revive card, and they were fully KO'd, you still get the power boost. But I think his only limit is up to 2, which is unfortunate, but I guess it's not too unfortunate because he's a little too strong for his own good if we're gonna buff him even more like that. Nejire, still a bane of some people's existence. She is not anymore for me, but she is still a pain in the butt. Low B. Low B, yeah, low B. Reason why: she stays in place for a little too long. She doesn't have the ability to get away as fast as possible anymore. She stays in the air much more longer than Hawks, and that's just by using the good old Sonic 06 technique. Actually, to be honest, I think, if I'm going to be honest, she is still better than Endeavor at the very least, because she has a good amount of damage. It's a little slow, but she's super oppressive. Not as much as before, but she's still super oppressive. A bit more than Endeavor, which kind of relies on trapping people or just being very good at sniping people with beta. Kurogiri is like the very best balanced support character that we do see, and with the right playstyle, he can still be pretty good. I do think, but personally for me, I do think that he is high mid B, because for one thing, his Gamma technically does the same as Nejire and Endeavor, but it's just his own hitbox. He can do the same 2 moves, which uses the Gamma meter instead, and he can summon portals to support the team and all that stuff. The only reason why he is put low is because people don't really like to fight in teams that much. If you're playing as Kurogiri, you have to be the team player. That is basically forced upon you. Unless, of course, you're soloing as Kurogiri. More power to you, and you're just built different. But he is super annoying still, personally for me. He doesn't do enough damage that people would like, but for him personally, he does just enough damage just to get your attention, and he does, and again, his damage may be low, but it's good, true covers, like cover fire. It's true cover fire. Like cover fire is supposed to be damage that somebody sends to as few warning shots, just to pepper them a little bit, so they can just get softened up just a tiny bit. That's just about it. That's what he does, and that's what I like about it. But considering with other characters, once he gets found out, his melee is really good though, and he has options to get away. But once you're found out, you're very much put in a situation where you are forced to either run or fight, and the best likely scenario is try to run. But if you mess up once from your escape plan, you're basically dead. Red Kiri, my beloved, you have fallen with grace compared to Hawks. People are technically sleeping on Red Kiri. I do believe that these two Kiris are about the same, honestly. The only reason why he is lower than Yellow is because Yellow has the power while he has the movement. The thing is that he uses rocks, but he does use rocks. But here's the thing, his really only good move is Alpha, which is good because it's, movement and a very good damage dealing move. The problem is his Beta. Now his Beta has a shield which is run on a timer, not health, so his shield's basically always indestructible unless you're all for one. But people can dodge his Beta very, very easily by just rolling away or just running towards the side. And if Kiri's trying to turn around, it's so slow. If he gets a Beta buff, which actually makes his turns much more faster, then he would be much more higher, maybe low A. But currently he's about the same range because they're about the same to me. Kiri is my secondary main, and I play both versions. I prefer Yellow over Red, so this is my opinion. But if you prefer Red over Yellow, it's fine too. But if you want to argue him to be higher, low A is the highest I would go. And based on team comps, he's really average. He's basically just a Red Rapid that basically just, you can still kill. It's just that his protection plan is not exactly rock solid. Purple. A lot of people say he's C or possibly D because of his low damage, and yeah. Listen, just Red Kaminari is a monster. This guy, he's a monster in a different way. For me personally, he's a high B. His mines are a little annoying, but kind of manageable. His Gamma is the same as this Gamma in terms of stunning. In terms of power, no, it's much more weaker, but he has more mobility from it. The main issue that I have is his Alpha. Alpha has homing shots, and he can shoot 9, which with 3 hitting 1 person. So if you're aiming 3 people, all of them take 3 shots, and they're guaranteed to hit unless they are hiding in cover, and that's about it. The auto aim is a little too powerful. I really don't like it, and while he needs more hits to land in order to stun, if the shots home in, who cares about the higher increase requirement? But he is a bit more lower because despite him having the most overpowered kit on paper, his damage is super lacking compared to All For One's abilities are overpowered. They're doing a lot more high power, almost to the 300 range if you build him correctly. No, he's normally almost 300. He's 250 if I'm going to be honest, or 225 again, or just 200. It's really fluctuating, honestly. I feel like the power, at least the damage I get out from All For One is very inconsistent. But then you got you know, Dabi, his traps do a lot of damage. Aizawa, he can basically just torment you by just grabbing you, pull you in, Gamma, and then Beta, and then all that stuff. And then Todoroki is just Todoroki. Hell, Nejire can do more oppression, and she can do a bit more damage. And then even Purple Toga, who I put down here, can do more damage than Purple here. The only difference is that he has movement, modern movement. She doesn't exactly. Now we're here with the final two characters. Okay, here we go. So, a lot of people say that this one is S tier. Personally, in recent bias, I would say so too. But I'm going to be logical here, and I'm going to say this. She's too strong for her own good. However, she is in between. If I'm going to be putting her, honestly, high A tier, the argument is low S tier. Because here is the thing, right? As a team, in a team comp, any team comp with decent teammates, she is too OP because she has a setup that is too strong. She has a move that is also too strong. She has movement for days, but it's just movement for days. And of course, she can combo with 50% of the roster, which would equal as a 2-shot. There's one in particular, seen multiple times. Oh boy. Sorry. Oh boy. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So. Yeah. So, as a team, yeah, she's monster. But as a solo, she does high enough damage at any point, and she has the possibility to just wreck you. The only reason why that she's down here is because solo. She's only very average. Above average, I would say. She's above average solo. And at bare minimum, at worst, she is very mid, below average. Because by herself, that 50% clearing turns into a 20%. There's a lot of characters that can still counter her, and those characters are right up here. Everyone in the S tier can counter her. Hell, Momo and Kendo can counter her as well. Ida can, Tsu can, fucking Cementos. I mean, even fucking Toga could actually, I think I'm giving her too much credit. All for One can actually do much more against her solo. But if she's with a team, you're dead. Yeah, so if you see her and she has people around her, run away as fast as possible unless you are one of these characters. Besides Overhaul, I think if you're Overhaul, you're basically asking for death. That's about it. I think he's the only character up here that can't really do much. Oh, also, Beta. So here's the thing: Beta makes her hurt box bigger than Hawk's when in the air. Comparing Betas, that's because her hitbox is bigger. So therefore, she can be seen in the air bigger, which also means that when you're trying to hit her body, it's a bit more easier to hit her if she is in beta. If she stops in beta, like stop using beta when it's over, her box is returned back to normal, which is like almost every other body in this roster besides like maybe Endeavor and All Might because you're big bodies. But yeah. Shinso, I like him, but currently bane of my existence. You know where he is going. Yeah, so despite her being good, Shinso solo, perfect. He is just above average, but as a team, he is too OP. Same issue. The difference is that as a solo, he can definitely solo you because of his tremendous amount of hit stun. Just ramming you in the air, locking you up like a Zawa, then slamming you down, doing it twice, then stunning you again while getting up, then stunning you again and can control you with special action, all that stuff. Beta is the strongest thing ever since Deku Beta. That's about it. Yeah, I think it's kind of easy to say that Shinso is the bane of almost everybody's existence, but people are just giving him the leeway because he is a high skill character. Yes, that's true, but who needs high skill if you get one lucky shot and then the beta that just does all the damage in the world? I'm a bit salty. And here's the thing, I've been playing Shinso for the majority of this season. I feel some fun from it, but that's just because of how many people are treating me with Shinso. So it's a lose-lose situation for me. But yeah, if I'm gonna be honest, like the play rate for Shinso for me, it's like 70%. I'm moving back to like All Might and Atri. I'm moving also back to most of the rapid characters. Not playing Twice because I think Twice has fallen off for me just a tiny bit because of how much people just targeting him. But I'm playing more Ida and Sue now because run button. I don't need to press the L stick anymore. I just press the trigger button. I just press the aim button because aim button is useless. That's about it. But yeah, that's the tier list. Do you agree? This is just all my opinions at the end of the day. If you don't agree, just leave a comment down below. Who do you think is the true S tier? I think Shinso is the true S tier because high damage and the stunning and the team comp where he's compatible with almost every team imaginable. But yeah. My name is Paul. I'll see you guys next time.